Keep Right with Ralph K. Ginorio. The West's terminal illness. Across the Western world, a disease of the mind and soul is spreading. Unchecked, this parasitical malady will kill its host, our shared Judeo-Christian Western civilization. We are not reproducing ourselves in sufficient numbers. While the world faces a Malthusian overpopulation crisis, this is largely a result of third world societies retaining pre-industrial birth rates in an age when they have access to modern medicine. In Europe, North America, and Australasia, populations have sharply leveled off. Lower birth rates, even declining birth rates, are a sign, always a sign, of a pervasive hopelessness that overrides our natural drives. This trend is made worse by the mass murder of countless unborn human beings through widespread abortion on demand. As a society, we have become callous towards the silent cries of babies yet to be born. This has corrupted our reverence for all human life. This birth rate crisis does transcend the Western world. Similarly, pervasive drops in the rate of new births plagues China, Japan, and elsewhere in the Eastern world. To be sure, the ubiquity of a cratering birth rate within the first free world or the second communist world indicate a crisis of confidence that is troubling all of technologically dependent humanity. As such, the West is facing a broader problem that all of modern man is wrestling with, the question literally of to be or not to be. Part of the ennui that befalls us human beings of the developed world originates in the hyper-organized and highly structured societies that have turned natural-born hunter-gatherers into scuttling office drones and unemployable welfare cases. We all seem to be cogs who are insignificant individually and have value only as a small part of a greater machine. However, our Western world originated industrial and post-industrial patterns of living. It created contemporary global society. Because of this, the West is experiencing a particularly virulent crisis of identity. This cascading spiritual crisis began among the artists and intellectuals of the industrial period before World War I. It has now infected the hopes and dreams of urban dwellers and suburbanites all across the Western world, poisoning the institutions of church, of state, of academe, of the media, of high culture and popular culture and business. A thoroughgoingly self-loathing ideology has spawned myriad ways of contemplating cultural and even physical mass suicide. Many on today's right, Christians, Jews, and Muslims, thirst after the moral cleansing which they expect to purge this world on Judgment Day. In their vision of apocalypse, God will prove these narrow fundamentalists right and everyone else wrong. Our irredeemably sinful present world will die and be replaced by the proverbial 1,000 years of peace that is the New Jerusalem. The woke left, on the other hand, is obsessed with pigeonholing every individual into a group identity defined by unchosen birth characteristics. No single person can be allowed to think for themselves or speak at variance with their group identity. The needs of conformity in advancing their social justice agenda trump any other considerations, whether it be culture called liberty or conscience or virtue. No personal scruple can be permitted to cloud their propaganda narrative with inconvenient complexities. To them, the doctrine that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one is so sacred that it is beyond question. This set of priorities makes leftists eager to subvert and undermine every single naturally evolved social convention, tradition, or set of values. Their revolution will deconstruct the irredeemably racist, heteronormative, cisgendered, colonizer, settler, capitalist, religiously heterodox current society and will bring about a utopian order of an imposed totalitarian unity in thought, word, and deed. As should be evident, both extremes hate the society around them and are willing to eliminate the pets, babies, the families, the farms, the businesses, the religious faiths, political parties, the artistic, creative integrity, and the human-loving relationships that make life worth living. All of this must be ultimately destroyed by them to usher in their newly perfected world order. In their view, such an end, literally paradise on earth, justifies any act, no matter how evil or obscene on its face. True believers throttle free speech, destroy the lives of women and children in service to fully normalizing homosexuality and fluidic gender identity. They impoverish civil populations, weaken our capacity to defend ourselves against criminals and invaders. They confuse churches with liberation theology and rock-solid fundamentalism. They turn government's power against its own citizens, even in free societies, in favor of criminals. They demonize their opponents rather than seeing them as a loyal opposition, and they eagerly undermine and despoil every institution that they touch. They corrupt any innocents who they encounter. To think that such unrestrained apocalypse hunger is now commonplace is disturbing. What sane individual would want to believe this? Unfortunately, objective reality couldn't care less about our emotional sensitivities. Reality exists, whether we like it or not. We can face this moment as ostriches, or we can gird up our loins and fight for a future Judeo-Christian Western society that is worth living in. As ever, my fellow free Americans, the choice is yours. For now.